皆さん、こんばんは。
Well, the tension is building here at the circuit as the start of today's Formula One Grand Prix draws ever nearer. What drama awaits us between now and the checkered flag? Well, we'll be finding out in just a few moments' time. It's one of the shortest laps on the calendar today then, with 7 rights and just 3 lefts, making up the 10 corners of this high-speed circuit. Turn 2 is barely a corner at all. They'll be flat out through there, a left-hand kink into the uphill braking zone of Turn 3. Turns 1, 3 and 4 are all potential opportunities to overtake. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Lando Norris lines up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Hamilton, Russell, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, and Piastri, Tsunoda, Leclerc, Albon, and Isaac Hadjar, Stroll, Sainz, Fernando Alonso, and Lawson, Ocon, Colapinto, Gabriel Bortoleto, and Ollie Behrman. Gasly and Nico Hülkenberg rounds off the grid. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. And alongside me a man, well, what more can I say? But he's a legend. Anthony Davidson. So much to talk about on what is such a short lap. It's the fastest lap times of the season, but that doesn't mean it's not a challenge.
It's a real challenge to get right this circuit. Lots of tight corners linked up with very long straights. You've got 3 DRS zones as well. That means that the racing is often very close, and you can hang on to potentially a faster car if you can stay within that 1 second buffer. But you've then got some higher speed corners like turn 6 and 7 in the middle of the track, and then the 2 final corners as well. Track limits. Yep, there we go. I mentioned it. Be careful.
Okay, radio check, radio check.
Radio check.
Okay, DRS is now available. That was the fastest lap of the race. Keep this up. Well done. Brilliant. Nice move. Keep going. Great work. That's a new fastest lap of the race. Gap to your teammate behind, 4.3 seconds. Okay, this is your final lap of the race. Oh, you worked hard for that one. Congratulations. Well done.
I didn't expect that, definitely. I definitely enjoyed it. Thanks, guys.
Great drive.
Yuki Tsunoda takes the checkered flag and wins.
You always look back at a race like this and think, if I'd just made that mistake there or locked up here, there would have been contact. And every one of those overtakes is a moment where you have to absolutely nail it, perfect it, and that's exactly what they're able to do today. Great stuff indeed.
It's time for our podium celebrations. And as ever in Formula One, 3 is the magic number. And the little man towers over the rest. It's the top step of the podium for Yuki Tsunoda. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
明日からは日本語版でやっていきますが、その他の日は 英語版でしますのでよろしくお願いします。
The hills are alive with the sound of engines. It's race day here at the Austrian Grand Prix. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole, edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Piastri, Russell, Yuki Tsunoda, and Hamilton. Verstappen, Antonelli, Albon, and Lance Stroll. Fernando Alonso, Hadjar, Liam Lawson, and Sainz. Gasly, Ocon, Nico Hulkenberg, and Ollie Behrman. Bortoletto and Franco Colapinto rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track. Well, it's been a long time since I last worked with you. Good to see you again today. Anthony Davidson, I know what we've got to do before the start of today's race, but what about our driver? What do the final hours look like for them?
Well, for them, you've got your pre-race rituals that you go through. You see different drivers that, some have got their headphones on, they're listening to the music. Some drivers really absorb the energy from the crowd and they're there waving to them. Other drivers, they go within themselves. They chat to their engineers, absorbing that information, that vital information that you need to carry you through the race. And, those pre-race rituals are essential to making things systematic. We do a lot of Grand Prix in a season, and the more systematic you can be, the easier you are within that environment.
All right, give me a quick radio check, please. Radio check.
Cool.
We can now use DRS. DRS now available. Good job, that was the fastest lap of the race so far. Okay, final lap. Let's go. Final lap.
Yes! Good job, guys. Good one, good one.
Very controlled race. Well done, mate.
The checkered flag is out. The crowd roar their approval for Yuki Tsunoda.
And that's 2 wins in a row now, of course, Crofty. And it marks the fact that it's not a fluke. So, you know, their head's in the right space. What more can we see going forwards?
There's room for 3 on their podium, but only ever 1 right at the top. Let the celebrations begin. What a victory for a very popular young man. Yuki Tsunoda takes the top step today. Well, that was certainly an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon. Welcome everyone to Silverstone, home of the British Grand Prix and home of the Formula One World Championship, where the very first F1 World Championship Grand Prix took place back in 1950. To this present day, it remains a firm favourite amongst fans and drivers alike. The 3.6-mile-long Silverstone circuit is one of the longest of the season, with 18 corners in the current layout. With average lap speeds reaching around 145 miles per hour, it's also one of the quickest tracks of the year. Watch out for cars taking the right-handers of Abbey and of Copse flat out. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Tsunoda, Hamilton, George Russell and Leclerc, Antonelli, Verstappen, Sainz and Liam Lawson, Albon, Hadjar, Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso, Bortoletto, Colapinto, Ollie Behrman and Esteban Ocon. Gasly and Nico Hülkenberg rounds off the grid. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. And alongside me in the commentary box, my old friend, Anthony Davidson. I love being here at Silverstone. I know you do too, mainly because we get to sleep in our own houses for a week. But what do the drivers enjoy most about this track?
Well, Silverstone's such a challenging circuit, Crofty, more so for the car than the driver, because these high-speed corners at Silverstone really test this modern-day F1 machinery to its maximum. We don't get that many times throughout the calendar. I can only think of Suzuka and Spa, maybe Qatar as well, with that high-energy cornering that you get here at Silverstone. So the drivers love throwing the car around through corners like Copse, Baggett's and Beckett's, for example, and it's really influential for your lap time as well.
Okay, radio check, radio check.
Radio check.
基礎、フォリーグナーズ、can, understand, I, sometimes, use, the, English, version, so, please, register, for, the, channel.
DRS now enabled. DRS enabled. Try to stay with them. They might make a mistake and we could still regain the position. Final lap, final lap. Push, push. Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Yeah, good job, mechanics.
And here he comes. It's all go, go, go for Lando Norris as he takes the checkered flag and wins.
A great team victory today, Crofty. That's the important bit here. On home soil, the drivers delivered, the team delivered as well, and to do that in front of their home support really means a lot to them.
Only 3 can take to the podium, and here they come. He raises the trophy over his head. Lando Norris, head and shoulders above the rest today. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One. I don't think we're in for a quiet one today. It's race day here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. It's an updated track at Catalunya, and the popular opinion in the paddock is that we never wanted the chicane in the first place. That's now been gone, the final corner is much faster, and at 2.9 miles and 14 turns, we await the Spanish Grand Prix. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Yuki Tsunoda lines up on pole position, and Lando Norris lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, and Hamilton, Antonelli, Piastri, Albon, and Lance Stroll, Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Liam Lawson and Hadjar, Hülkenberg, Gasly, Ollie Behrman and Gabriel Bortoleto, Ocon and Franco Colapinto rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. And alongside me today, a man who I'm always pleased to see join me in the commentary box, Anthony Davidson. Now, Ant, you always tell me you know Barcelona almost as well as you know the back of your hand. Given the amount of testing that goes on here and the amount of laps that you and all the other drivers have done, What are the challenges that are left when it comes to the race?
I think it's a well-trodden path, is Barcelona, Crofty. I mean, most drivers will know it up and down the grid. They would have raced here in their junior categories. And you come to Barcelona and there's nowhere to hide. So naturally, that makes all the lap times quite close because it's a circuit you know so well. But there's a key to this track, and it's looking after your left-hand side tyres. There are so many right-hand, it's a clockwise circuit, so lots of fast right-hand corners puts a lot of energy on the left-hand side tyres. So looking after those through the race, getting your strategy right is vital for this circuit.
Okay, let's have a comms check, please. Radio check.
Radio check.
Okay, DRS is now available. Okay, Leclerc's just set the fastest lap of the race so far. Okay, mate, final lap. Keep your concentration and let's bring it home. Yes, and that's a podium. Excellent drive. The whole team have worked especially hard this weekend, and that, my friend, is a fantastic reward. Well done.
Yeah, we should be happy with this. Yeah, honestly.
Here's the checkered flag. The fans rise to their feet. It's Lando Norris for victory.
And it's always good, Crofty, to get that momentum on your side, and it's really good for your confidence as well. The more confident you are, the further that can take you.
It's been a hard afternoon of brilliant racing, but now it's time for some proper celebrations. The podium awaits. He holds the trophy aloft, and why shouldn't he? A richly deserved win today for Lando Norris. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action, and I can't wait to see what's next. Nestled in the Ardennes forest waits an absolutely classic challenge, a throwback, and unashamedly so. The reputation of Spa-Francorchamps speaks for itself. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Belgian Grand Prix. So here we are once again, ready to go racing through the Ardennes forest. 4.35 miles of long straights, fast corners, and massive elevation changes. It makes this not only one of the most exciting circuits on the calendar, but one that makes for some consistently high-quality racing as well. Simply put it, there's no place quite like it. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position, just ahead of George Russell, who starts this event from P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Antonelli, Hamilton, Max Verstappen, and Piastri, Leclerc, Tsunoda, Lawson, and Carlos Sainz, Albon, Stroll, Fernando Alonso, and Hadjar, Bortoletto, Hülkenberg, Ollie Behrman, and Franco Colapinto. Gasly and Esteban Ocon lines up at the back of the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. And alongside me here today in the commentary box, Anthony Davidson. I know what we've got to do before the start of today's race, but what about our driver? What do the final hours look like for them?
Well, for them, you've got your pre-race rituals that you go through. You see different drivers that, some have got their headphones on, they're listening to the music. Some drivers really absorb the energy from the crowd and they're there waving to them. Other drivers, they go within themselves. They chat to their engineers, absorbing that information, that vital information that you need to carry you through the race. And, those pre-race rituals are essential to making things systematic. We do a lot of Grand Prix in a season, and the more systematic you can be, the easier you are within that environment.
Okay, radio check, radio check.
Radio check.
Okay, be careful with the front wing, you've taken some minor damage. We can now use DRS. DRS now available.
こんばんは、ニコニコ。
Okay, mate, this is the final lap of the race. Final lap. And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
Good job, guys.
Here's the checkered flag, and our winner has landowed. It's Lando Norris for victory.
And they're just starting to make it look easy out there. Now a hat-trick of wins. They're out there ahead. They've got the momentum on their side. And it's for the others now to try and up their game to stop that energy that they have.
It's what every driver imagines when they start out on their long road towards Formula One. And for our lucky three today, here's the podium waiting for them. He raises the trophy over his head. Lando Norris, head and shoulders above the rest today. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one. Welcome back to Budapest and the Hungaro Ring, infamous for its tight, narrow corners that force the drivers to constantly be on top form. No doubt we're in for a great race here today. 14 corners then for our drivers to navigate at the 2.7-mile Hungaro Ring today. It's 6 lefts and 8 rights around a lap here, with average speeds in the region of 120 miles per hour. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and starting next to them is George Russell. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Norris, Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, and Tsunoda, Antonelli, Hamilton, Lawson, and Alex Albon, Stroll, Fernando Alonso, Carlos Sainz, and Hadjar, Colapinto, Ocon, Pierre Gasly, and Ollie Behrman, Bortoletto, and Nico Hülkenberg rounds off the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? And alongside me in the commentary box today, a man who I always look up to, which is easier said than done, Anthony Davidson. I know what we've got to do before the start of today's race, but what about our driver? What do the final hours look like for them?
Well, for them, you've got your pre-race rituals that you go through. You see different drivers that, some have got their headphones on, they're listening to the music. Some drivers really absorb the energy from the crowd and they're there waving to them. Other drivers, they go within themselves. They chat to their engineers, absorbing that information, that vital information that you need to carry you through the race. And, those pre-race rituals are essential to making things systematic. We do a lot of Grand Prix in a season, and the more systematic you can be, the easier you are within that environment.
Radio check, please. Radio check.
Radio check.
DRS now enabled. DRS enabled. Okay, we lost the position. Try to keep focus. And gap to the car in front, 0.0 seconds. Okay, you've just started the final lap of the race. Final lap. Leclerc's taken the lead. Let's keep pushing. The gap between you and the next car is 6 seconds. All right, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
You did good job. You guys deserved it, definitely. Good job, guys.
And Leclerc to the line, to the checkered flag. It's King Charles today. He wins.
I mean, it looked like they were in a different category at points during the race, led every lap. I mean, what more can we say?
From lights out to the checkered flag, this is what they're racing for. It's points and a trip to the podium. And that is a fabulous win. And the top step of the podium for Charles Leclerc. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One. Welcome to Zandvoort. We've got a treat for you today with its trademark banked corners and a sea of orange t-shirts. Welcome along to the Dutch Grand Prix. A lap of this short 2.6 mile Zandvoort circuit features 14 corners, 10 to the right and 4 to the left, with a 678-metre main straight heading into turn 1, Tarzan Corner. And on that straight with DRS open, that'll be the best overtaking opportunity on this track. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Oscar Piastri lines up on pole position, edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Antonelli, Hamilton, Charles Leclerc and Tsunoda, Verstappen, Russell, Sainz and Fernando Alonso, Stroll, Albon, Liam Lawson and Hadjar, Bortoletto, Hülkenberg, Esteban Ocon and Ollie Behrman, Colapinto, and Pierre Gasly picks up the final grid slot. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. And striding into our commentary box to join us today, the man, the myth, the legend, Anthony Davidson. Now, Ant, I could go on for hours, and I probably will, about the atmosphere here today, the sea of orange, this Dutch Formula One festival. But once you're in the cockpit, once the visor's down, what are the challenges for the driver?
Zandvoort is an old-school classic racetrack that's been revamped to bring it back to life for modern-day F1, and the Dutch fans are here, all dressed in orange, to see their man, Max Verstappen, and he always delivers around this track.
Okay, mate, radio check, please. Radio check.
Radio check.
Okay, DRS is now available. Okay, good work. Great pass. The car behind started to drop back. There's a gap beginning to form. Let's make the most of it. Norris has just put in the fastest lap of the race so far. Okay, you've just started the final lap of the race. Final lap. Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Bit of a disappointment, but definitely we maximize the I think package.
And it's the checkered flag for your Grand Prix race winner, Oscar Piastri.
A great display of dominance today, Crofty, by this driver. They led from lights out to the flag at the end, led every lap of the race. Brilliant stuff by them, and excited to see what more they can do in future races.
What a day it's been for Formula One, and what a day it's been for these three drivers. Time for the podium celebrations. Time for our drivers to celebrate. They give out trophies for the winners. Today, they're Oscars. Your winner today, Oscar Piastri. Well, that was certainly an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon.
ラスト走って終わりにしたいと思います。
Thanks in no small part to the popularity of Max Verstappen, the Netherlands is back on the F1 calendar. So welcome to the boisterous atmosphere of Zandvoort for the Dutch Grand Prix. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and Yuki Tsunoda completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Antonelli, Max Verstappen, and Hamilton, Piastri, Russell, Hadjar, and Fernando Alonso, Stroll, Albon, Carlos Sainz, and Lawson, Colapinto, Gasly, Ollie Behrman, and Esteban Ocon, Hülkenberg, and Gabriel Bortoleto rounds off the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. And alongside me today is a man who needs no introduction, but I'll try anyway. It's Ant Davidson. Now, you're the racing driver in this partnership, so tell us about this racing driver. Put us in their shoes. How are they going to be feeling?
Well, you've got to be prepared, Crofty. Before you even step foot inside the car, you've got to know, you've got to have a pre-race game plan. You've watched videos before you get into the car of previous races gone by. You know where you have to place your car if X, Y, or Z happens in front of you or behind you. So having this clear game plan is absolutely essential before you get in the car.
Radio check, radio check.
Radio check.
We can now use DRS. DRS now available. Norris has just put in the fastest lap of the race so far. Okay, this is your final lap of the race. Yes, yes, come on, we're on the podium. Good job this weekend. That's a great drive. Thank you.
At least we got the points, so yeah, congratulations guys. It's good.
And here he comes. It's all go, go, go for Lando Norris as he takes the checkered flag and wins.
They led from lights out to the flag at the end, and their race victory was never in doubt, was it? Brilliant stuff by them.
Well, I don't know about you, but I've absolutely loved watching that action today, and I'm sure these three have loved taking part. Here come our podium finishers. He holds the trophy aloft, and why shouldn't he? A richly deserved win today for Lando Norris. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.
ご視聴いただき、ありがとうございました。